So we have a group called No Labels that says we don't believe in labels. Isn't their title No Labels, Mr. Producer? I think it is. Now, we have a lot to talk about, but I want to address this for a minute. I watched this Larry Hogan and these others, this guy John Huntsman, Manchin, and they're being pushed by the media, too. The media have been trashing Trump. They've been trashing DeSantis. My theory there, frankly, is they want to cripple DeSantis and then take out Trump and open the field for a more moderate Republican, whomever that may be. That's my theory. And I believe it's true. And some suckers in the various aspects of the party are falling all over it. They're falling for it. But this whole thing about no labels. And they talk about we need to find common ground. We need to find common ground. America expects us to get things done. I take the completely opposite point of view. Common ground with who? For what? I have nothing in common with Joe Biden's agenda. Open borders, undermining police, choking the military. I have nothing in common with this agenda. Destroying women's sports. Their agenda is a radical Marxist agenda. Common ground? Bipartisanship? Republicans are always suckers for this kind of thing, aren't they? Common ground on critical race theory? Democrat Party supports it. Common ground on sexualizing our children? Well, that's the teachers' unions, and they're an appendage of the Democrat Party. The war on Catholics, the war on pro-lifers? I have anything in common with that. The Democrat Party's trying to monopolize our entire political system, as communist parties do, as fascistic parties do. Oh, they want you to believe there's competition for elections. They don't mind a completely impotent Republican Party out there. You see them in various states. But that's not what we want. Common ground with our own destruction? Common ground with a party that's trying to destroy the Supreme Court? Common ground with a party that's trying to destroy the Electoral College so they never lose an election? Common ground with a party that trashes our founders? With a party that hates the Constitution? Common ground? This is what you get from the Larry Hogans and the Asa Hutchinsons, the Chris Christies, the Chris Sununu's. You get a continuation of the same. It's not as in your face. It's not as aggressive. But it's the same. They don't want to engage in the culture wars. Well, we're in a culture war. We either fight back or we lose. We lose our classrooms. We lose our children. We lose our language. We lose our liberties. What do you mean you don't want to engage in it? We have to engage in it. We have to win it. So if you're dealing with a political party that hates America, that has hated America almost since its inception, that hated America so much it led a civil war against the country to defend slavery. It spent 100 years after the Civil War trying to block the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, trying to block equality and due process. I have nothing in common with this. It wasn't that long ago when the Democrat Party was pushing eugenics, especially for black people. Margaret Sanger. Hillary Clinton got the Margaret Sanger Award. She was very proud of it. She was a racial eugenicist. And gave a speech to the Klan in the South. Well, why are we celebrating that? What's the common ground? And what is the Democrat Party today? Promotes a Marxist agenda. Wants to centralize all decision-making in Washington. Wants to decide what kind of products you can own, what kind of services you can have, what kind of life you're going to live, whether you're going to be destitute or not, inconvenienced, the quality of life declining. Common ground. You and I, we stand for liberty. That's our common ground. For this, we're called right-wingers and extremists by those who don't. We stand for little r republicanism, constitutional republicanism. They don't. They don't. We stand for a man being a man and a woman being a woman. They don't. We stand for a free press. They stand for a state-run press. So this whole idea of common ground and bipartisanship, oh, it sounds so swell, but it's a ruse. It's a ruse. And we lose every time. And we cannot let the usual establishment Republicans, the rhinos, the frauds, fakes, and the phonies, we cannot allow them to use this kind of, propaganda about common ground and bipartisan. That's what the voters want. The voters want, if it's presented to them properly, at least most of us, to be left alone, to buy whatever kind of car we want, to raise our children, not with a village or a teacher union in the way. We want people to be able to have free speech on the internet. We want experts to be able to provide us with their best information. We don't want equity. Equality is what we want. And we want liberty. Common ground, let me be very clear about this. We must obliterate the Democrat Party, not appease it. It is the enemy, like any other enemy. But it's a more dangerous enemy. It's a more complex and daunting situation. Because within the United States, it uses liberty to destroy liberty. It uses the Constitution to destroy the Constitution. It uses the wealth and prosperity created by capitalism to empower government and destroy capitalism. It's the enemy. There is no common ground unless you're prepared to surrender and have some surface level accommodationist viewpoint of that enemy. I'm not trying to be provocative. I'm very realistic. I am very practical. But Mark, you're a conservative activist. And what does that mean? It means I believe in our country, in our founding document, the Declaration, in our founding governing document, the Constitution. I believe in these things. I mean, it's what all Americans should believe in. So no labels, they say. No labels. They want to take out DeSantis, and they're working very hard on this. In other words, they want to weaken him and cripple him. They want to take out Donald Trump and imprison him before we even get to vote. It's essentially what the prosecutor said to the court last week. No, we don't want to move the election till after, the prosecution till after the election. Well, they seek to put Trump in prison. So they want to put him in prison while the election's going on. Can you make common ground with that? Of course not. So I have a completely different view of the situation and what must be done. Republican establishment wants to be called bipartisan, even if it means sitting back and watching the destruction of America. It's appeasement. And we've had enough of it. These are quislings. What's that, Mark? Google it. We need patriots. We need statesmen. We need leaders. We need people who are going to speak out. That's what we need. So when you look at these Republicans running, put aside all the propaganda, and by that I mean even from the other campaigns, the personal attacks, this is all done because each one of them wants to win. But you need to take a sober look at each one of these people. Not what they tell you to look at, but what you decide to look at. And you need to make a decision. Who's capable of saving this country? And who will say one thing and then sell us out the next day? If we don't win this election, and then immediately thereafter set our sights on neutralizing the Democrat Party, the future's dim. The Democrat Party, as I said to you, is more than a party. It's more than a political party. It's more than a cultural party. It is the government party, or as I call it, the state party, backed by the state media, backed by the massive, indestructible, it seems, administrative state. These are all the signs and characteristics of totalitarianism. So I thought I would lay that out, make it clear. It is all in the book. The Democrat Party hates America. This isn't about making some kind of superficial arrangement with them. They have no interest in that. They're trying to destroy us. They call you names. They hate your faith. They're destroying the nuclear family. I mean, how much more of this we're going to take? No labels. No, we need labels. Right from wrong. Good from evil. Liberty versus tyranny. No, we need labels.